represented by him. It'll either be yourself or Eric Flores, who's your opponent in the Republican race. So our district was one of the 5 that the lines were redrawn, and we're here on the island. We're 8,400 Republican voters, and we were kind of cannon fodder. I think they looked at this. Okay, we'll throw those guys in that district and see what happens, and that's kind of how we got here.
Right.
So you have some background in Corpus Christi. For those who don't know, you tell us something about how long you've been in the job and how you got here.
Right. So I've been in Congress this is my 5th term. This is my 10th year in Congress. And I've never had the honor of representing my hometown of Corpus Christi. This is where I was born and raised, where I went to school, where I went to college, before I went to law school. And then just life took me, I was practicing law between San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley and McAllen. And when I first moved to when I opened an office down there, I knew about 3, 4, or 5 people. I never thought in my life that I would end up being a member of Congress for the region. But 10 years ago, I was elected, and my district at the time ran from Guadalupe County, north of San Antonio, all the way down to McAllen. And in 2020, they redistricted us from actually my physical home into a 75% new district along the border to the coast, and then up the coast up to Clayburgh County, which is not too far from here. And it was a 75% new district, obviously intended for us to lose,
Right.
but we won it, and we won it twice, including the last cycle when President Trump won every county in my district, and we were given the honor of representing that district again.
So what's the district now?
And today, under the last drawing, my district is now straight. It starts in Corpus Christi. We'll have 82% of Nueces County, and it'll be a straight strip down the coast all the way to the border of Brownsville. It'll no longer go inland too far. It'll stay in Cameron County.
Does it include Kingsville?
It does. Clayburgh County, which I represent now.
So the border here is Packery Channel. For us, Port Aransas is going to stay.
So the way they drew it when you get to the island is when you cross the causeway, on the right side of the causeway would be in my new congressional district for next cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to the left, going out into Port Aransas, would be Congressman Cloud.
Where is the line? Is it Packery?
Well, the line is
As you
this
go
expressway. I don't know where the line on the top is, but most of the population here will be what's on the right will be in 34, and what's on the left will be in Cloud's district.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they split the island. I thought it was Packery Channel. Wow.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the way I saw the map.
I looked on the congressional website, and you couldn't get down that close.
Yeah,
It
so
just showed it was somewhere in there, but
Right. It's a little tricky, right?
so I figured it was. It looked like it was Packery Channel, but I couldn't tell for sure. So your district, you've got a military base here. Does it include Kingsville?
Naval Air Station, where I went to school.
How many military bases do you have?
Right now, I only have one. I have Naval Air Station Kingsville,
And then CCAD here.
and that's right, CCAD.
What's new with that? Are we hearing any?
We're working hard already on CCAD. Let me tell you, Senator Cornyn and myself brought down the Undersecretary of the Army about a month and a half ago, and we were able to tour the facility, and we were able to tour the places where we have a lot of people working still today. And we're looking on what we can do, first of all, to conserve the jobs we have.
Right.
And also, how can we expand? As you know, we're moving away from a lot of helicopter defense. And we think we can replace it with some of the drone industry that's expanding around the country, and also other industries. I became pretty close with his assistant, and she is looking for overflow of work right now in other military bases around the country of what would fit in, because we have a great workforce here. We've lost about 3,000 jobs in the last 10 years, right?
So what was your impression when you took the tour of the base? And you're growing up
well,
here.
let me tell you, I hate to be condescending, but it's not the same military base that I went into when I was a young man, and it looks very different, and it needs a lot of work. And I intend to put in the work, because I think we can improve the conditions on the base in a lot of different ways, but we can also expand the workforce on the base.
Is it the facilities that are that need help?
They look like they've deteriorated quite a
Really?
bit from back in the day.
How many jobs are left over there now? About 1,000 or so?
I think there's a couple of thousand jobs left. We've lost 3,000 in the last, more than 3,000 in the last 10 years, which has about $1 billion. These are good paying jobs, which has about $1 billion a year of
Right.
economic impact to the region. So we got to figure out how to solve this, right? How to fix the problem. And the only way to fix the problem is bringing more new jobs and looking for new technologies that we can gear up with our universities and colleges and a lot of our veterans that are coming home that are already capable of taking in these jobs. It'll also invite people to this region. Corpus Christi and the coastal bend's a beautiful place to live. And if you can provide a good job, people will come. And those are the things that I'm...
You mentioned veterans. What's the most common question or complaint you get from veterans as you make your way around the district?
Yeah, well, slow health care is one of the major concerns, I think, for veterans.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've been working on really hard since I got to Congress. In fact, I was able to get funding for mobile units. Some of my my rural counties, I went out and met veterans that hadn't seen a doctor, older veterans. These are seniors that can't get in a car and drive 70 miles to see a doctor. So if they were out in Duval and Jim Hogg and Brooks at the time, and we got a mobile medical unit to go out there. We would do stops once a month in places where people could do a blood and urine and just a general checkup. And then telemedicine became more popular after COVID, and now we're doing a lot more of that. And so we're improving care at the facilities we have. At the VA facilities that we have, we've improved a lot. Actually, the Harlingen one is
Yeah, you have a VA facility in Harlingen.
That's right.
That's where everybody used to have to go, drive all the way down there.
Yep.
And that was the only place we'd see them.
And we've made some major investments now. It's a beautiful little small hospital. And we should have the same for people here in Corpus, right? You shouldn't have to travel to Harlingen or San Antonio. You should have the care you need right here at home. And if they can't provide that care, you should have a card in your pocket where you can go to the best doctor or the best healthcare provider in your community and be at the front of the line. And the healthcare providers who are going to give you the care know they're going to get paid, because one of the biggest problems that we've had is a lot of healthcare providers weren't getting paid by the VA, and we've fixed some of that. But when I got to Congress in 2017, a hospital took me into a room and said, "See all these boxes in this room? These are all unpaid VA bills."
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that is the last message we want to send to medical providers, that they're not going to get paid when they see a veteran. Because when they see that veteran sitting out in their waiting room, they're going to think, wow, I'm not going to get paid for that veteran. I want to have the opposite effect. I want them to know that they're going to get well paid and taken care of, and it's going to be fast and easy. And that's why I'm saying every veteran should have a card to be able to get the care they need if we don't have it at the VA facility. But we also need to recruit more physicians, more healthcare providers, and higher quality of
A lot of them have TRICARE for life out here on the island, the military. So the cities that in your district, Brownsville, Kingsville, Corpus, Harlingen, what are the other majors?
Brownsville.
Brownsville, okay. Well, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So what?
Port Isabel.
So you've got the three ports. What are the issues, the common issues with those three ports that you have?
So the port of Brownsville, I was able to get them two LNG permits. So we're now going to be exporting energy. I remember the biggest challenge they told me is you'll never be able to do it under a Democratic administration. And I got 2 permits from FERC to be able to create 2 export facilities out of the port of Brownsville. We're deepening and widening the port. We invested $268 million to be able to do this, and it's blowing and blowing and going, and a lot of things are happening down there. We have SpaceX.
Right.
We're going to start building some autonomous ships there. We are looking at potentially bringing some of the nuclear vessels. I've been working on this for a couple of years. We have some nuclear vessels that need to be scrapped, and those are $1 billion a piece in economic impact. There's about 22 decommissioned nuclear vessels.
We built a Sleederman Park out of those leftovers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, we had shade structures made out of upside down.
So we
lifeboats.
already scrapped Navy ships, but the nuclear vessels is where the money's at.
Really?
And yeah, so I'm especially interested in trying to bring some of that business home. And some of that's Brownsville. Harlingen is a little different. I'll be happy to talk about that as well.
Well, one of we just had the head of the Port Commission on here last week, and they're starting a container port here in Corpus, which
Yeah, that's good
we've
stuff.
never had before, which is kind of it's kind of a different direction for us. What committees are you on in Congress? I
So-
should have looked that up. I
Yeah.
apologize.
So I'm on financial services. So we oversee Wall Street, insurance companies, banks, anything with a dollar sign in front of it. And then my subcommittee is capital markets, and my other subcommittee is national security and illicit finance. So those are it's an A committee, so I'm only on financial services. But we get a lot of work done in that committee.
All right. Well, speaking of getting work done, we still got a lot more ground to cover. We will be right back. Everybody, hold fast.
Thank you. So this is radio and streaming.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our beautiful Docks Waterline studio. Probably going to get some oysters or a couple appetizers delivered down here pretty soon. Should be fun.
we
We've got
have the Pelican Air Force here.
exactly. And surprised there's not a fishing tournament already started down
We
here. It
had
seems
a-
like there's one every weekend in here during summer.
The humidity's let up a little bit this morning, so the air you can wear is not quite as
Yeah, it's a
bad.
little
It
more
was
comfortable.
109 heat index yesterday, so I think you'll be able to wear it later.
We're here with our congressman, or our I don't know, I guess our soon-to-be.
you can say that.
Yeah, Vicente Gonzalez. What's the biggest question you get as you go around? The campaign season's been going 3 or 4 months now. What are people talking about? What do they want to know from you?
Well, I think the biggest concern right now in the country is affordability for a lot of people, right? Prices are through the roof. Salaries haven't kept up. Seniors are concerned about Medicare and Social Security being protected. The veterans issues that we're talking about,
Right.
health care, assuring that they got good jobs when they come home are all on the top of the list. Public school funding is something that everyone cares
That's
about.
more of a state issue.
It is, but no, it's not necessarily. I brought home $1.3 billion in Title I funding for public schools since I've been in Congress.
What does that money go for?
That money goes to schools.
Bricks and mortar, or
It goes to everything: technology, schools, new programs, assuring that they have all the equipment they need, computers, first-class facilities.
Right.
So yeah, it goes to everything.
well, we're sitting here on the island, 8,400 voters, and about 8,000 of them voted in the Republican primary. What do you say to Republicans that come up and say, "Why should I vote for a Democrat?" What's your
Yeah. Well, I think I'm a little bit of a different kind of Democrat if you do a little research on me. I'm the most bipartisan, one of the most bipartisan members of Congress in the country, and one of the most conservative Democrats. I didn't know I was conservative until I got to Washington. You know?
Funny how that works.
Well, everybody says that.
I chair the Oil and Gas Caucus for the party. I think it's important for Democrats to be sitting at the table and talking about one of the most important topics in the country, which is our American energy. I believe in gun rights. I grew up hunting and fishing, and
You went to school here in Corpus? High
Went to
school
school
here
here in Corpus. So I identify with my party on some issues, and I identify with the other side on some issues, and I generally think both parties suck, right?
Yeah.
And I pick and choose what I think is best and what reflects the values of my region and the place where I grew up, and I take my votes pretty independently.
If you win the election, what committees would you aspire or try to be on that
Yep.
might be different?
Yeah.
As you get a little more seniority.
Yeah. Well, I'm on one of the best committees in the country, in Congress. I'll be honest with you, but I have been trying to make a move, and that's to appropriations. And the only reason I want to move there is because that's a cash register, right?
Set a straddle of the cash flow.
And I want to be there. I want to be able to, bring home the resources to regions like ours. We talk about investments in desal operations, right? I think the federal government, and I was the first one to say this, should step in a very meaningful way. We export $2.5 billion of energy out of the port of Corpus Christi, about almost $250 billion a year. Why are we arguing about a couple of $1 billion?
Yeah.
I think the federal government and the state government should step in a very meaningful way. They collect, hundreds of billions of dollars in tax resources from our exports, and take care of it. They can't put it on the backs of local taxpayers when there's only 350,000
You're
people.
talking about desal.
I'm talking about desal, right? Whichever. I'm not saying which program. I know there's like
Right.
100 different proposals. I'm not going to debate
Yeah.
that. I think the community needs to figure out which is the best one, and there are some really good ones out there. And pick the best one that's environmentally the best. That's going to produce water, the most water at the lowest price for consumers, so they won't be overpaying for water. Right now, they're overpaying for water.
Deciding on which site sounds easy if you say it real fast, but we're Greg, about 3 or 4 years in, and we're still gouging each other's eyes.
We're
right?
we're actually even 7 years in, because way before I was ever thinking that I was going to be running in my hometown of Corpus Christi,
Yeah.
people were coming to my office in Washington from Nueces County talking about desal, and they still haven't been able to get it done. And I believe because everyone can't just get behind one of the projects. I think one thing what we can't do is continue to sit on our hands, right? There's a
Right.
problem here that needs to be resolved, and if the community leaders can't all get behind one, I think we should put it on the ballot box as a referendum and let the people choose, and everybody could campaign for whatever project they want, but we can't delay it any longer, and let the citizens choose, and then we can't blame anybody because the citizens chose, right? Educate the community of the different projects that are available, and get behind one and push hard.
What is the federal role there? Is it mostly just funding?
I believe we need to bring home the money to pay for it. And I know the governor offered $700 million in loans. We don't need loans, right? We need equity. They ought to give the $700 million as a grant to whichever project the community decides to get behind. And
Probably either the one right across from us over here or Harbor Island, right?
there's like 5 of them.
Yeah, I think, like the congressman was saying, just let the public decide. Put it out to them. This is such an emotional issue with it.
I agree.
That takes a lot of.
We're doing it
of
through surrogates now on the city
Yeah.
council.
Right.
It is a second, kind of a second.
Yeah, I believe in a
process.
democratic process. Let's put it on the ballot. Everybody can lobby and campaign for whatever project they think is best, and let the people decide what they want.
Yeah.
What does what do you see? What does the port need over the next couple of years? What do they need that they're not getting at the moment here in Corpus? Anything?
Well, I'm sure they can always get more resources, right?
Yeah.
Expand the port in different places where they can bring in new business, new industry, create more job growth in the area. Not only job growth, but good-paying jobs. That a lot of good-paying jobs around the port area, and I think that's where they can use support. Certainly, water is a concern for the port because it's a
Yeah.
concern for industry. It's a concern
Sure.
for the population. It's a concern for everyone. And one thing I also don't believe is that we shouldn't be pitting the community versus industry, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't
Right.
be pitting them against each other. We both need each other. They provide jobs, and the population provides the employment. There's got to be a deal to be had,
Right.
And let's just figure out which is the best possible project, And
Move
once
on.
y'all do that, I will find you the money.
That's good. We've been stuck on that for a while, but what are the people in the valley when you get in Brownsville and that area? What are they looking for down there? Are they
Yeah.
going to get a second causeway? Is that
We
still-
are, yeah, it's been approved. So I think there'll be a second causeway on the northern part of South Padre Island. It's a beautiful area. It's gonna expand the region dramatically. We are connecting I-69 all the way down. There's been a lot of growth in the valley. If you go down there, it's been transformational.
So
growth.
typically now, what's a congressional district has what, about 750,000 people?
We're supposed to have 760, but as you know, we didn't do a very good job of the last census. So I always calculate that we have about 150,000 more than.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you say is the population difference between the Corpus metro area and then the valley as a whole?
Well, the valley as a whole is 1.35 million people.
Okay.
So
yeah. So
there's-
I that kind of goes to my point. I was describing this to someone a little while ago. I said, we've got 17 or 23 miles of SPID. How many miles of basically the equivalent of SPID of franchise row is there in the valley now? A lot of people who haven't been down there in a while haven't
It's
seen the
crazy.
expansion and the growth.
it's expanded a lot, especially
Yeah.
since they elected me. No.
What I don't see down there, though, I see all kinds of like Top Golf and every kind of restaurant you would ever want to go to. But what I don't see that I see here is I don't see empty old car dealerships. Just empty things. Just
In the
right-
valley?
No, you see.
Yeah,
none.
there's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of business. There's a lot of trade. We if you want to talk about trade, right? We traded almost $900 billion last year, and 70% of it went through Texas. And the border region has been transformed in the last 25, 30 years since the first NAFTA agreement was
So
formed.
maquiladoras are still going strong.
Maquilas, trade, buying and selling, wheeling and dealing. There's a lot going on. A lot of automotive trade, a lot of agriculture. Just all kinds of things are going back and forth, north and south. And
What about the airport and flights out of there? That's a constant struggle here in Corpus.
Yeah, so we have 3 airports. We have one in McAllen, one in Harlingen, and one in Brownsville, and it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
I think we need more flights to more places, but the airlines aren't going to do that if we don't have a population growth and
Sure.
a demand. Which
Well, that
hopefully
valley's had a pretty good population growth over the last few years.
we are, and there are more flights available out of McAllen, I think, than there are at.
How much of that growth is coming out of and trade is coming out of Mexico? I mean, are you seeing
Well-
capital flight coming out of Mexico into the valley?
We had a flight.
Capital flight, just people moving money out.
A lot of
scared
money. For example, in the small town of McAllen, I'll just carve out Hidalgo County, where McAllen is based. There's 850,000 people in that population, but the small town of McAllen, which has 130,000 people, gets about their community banks get about $2 billion of Mexican national business deposits every year. And that doesn't include the investments and reinvestments that are going on.
Right.
In fact, I think our region should be inviting those type of investments into Corpus Christi. I don't see
McAllen's
it.
the kind of the financial center down in the valley, isn't it?
It is. It
That's
is.
where the Benson family was. They were in
That's right.
banking down there when he was in the Senate years ago. So the valley is how closely is the retail economy? Do you see it seasonally coming up out of Mexico, or a lot of your customer base coming out of there?
Yeah, we if you see the mall,
Yeah.
La Plaza Mall in McAllen, it's
Yeah.
spectacular. It's one of the nicest, has some of the highest end stores in the country and in the state. We get a lot of wealthy Mexican nationals that come and shop at that mall and have second
All right,
homes on
we'll-
South Padre.
We will jump right back to this shortly. Everybody hold fast. Quick break. And welcome back to Island Moon Live. Special guest, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, joining Tyler Thorson, Greg Smith, Dale Rankin, and my name is Jacob Oggs. And they changed the congressional district to include the area all the way down to Brownsville. And that's a lot of driving. And if you need to get rid of that old car or truck, you need to go talk to Frank at Discount Motor Company. He's right there at 6601 SPID, right between Turner's and the movie theater. He wants to buy your old car or truck. So take that thing over to him, and you'll get $500 more than that big box store across the street where you don't talk to the manager. You talk to other people, and they have to go talk to their superiors. It takes forever. Don't bother with it. Frank wants to buy your old car or truck. Go see Frank the Bank at Discount Motor Company. You can go to discountmotorcompany.com and see their whole active inventory, fleet vehicles, trucks, cars, you name it. Tell them that you heard about it on Island Moon Live. So getting back to where we were kind of going over the differences between the Valley and Corpus, and the district changes as of the 1st of next year, right?
That's right. The third.
The third, okay.
It seems like a lot of the economic interests of the whole district are common. You have a lot of tourism. You have the ports. I've been hearing that there's a lot of people here building homes in Mansfield. What's going on down
Port
there?
Mansfield is exploding. That's I'm in my district now.
Yeah.
It's a great fishing town. It's pretty sleepy. It used to be sleepier. A lot
Yeah,
of deer, a lot of
right.
wildlife in the region.
We know about Port Aransas that way, yeah.
Well, we used to say here.
That's what it used to be, right?
Yeah, we had 25,000 cars over the bridge here not the holiday weekend, the week before. We always say, one of these days it's going to be, look out here, Mansfield, here I come, because we get overpopulated here. One of the topics that I want to touch on is driving on the National Seashore, where they're in the process of, I'll just say, changing the turtle rescue program there. And there's a study that was done back in 2020. It looks like where they're headed is they're leaving the turtle nest on the beach, and the next step may quite well be to try to ban traffic and try to tell people you can't drive on the National Seashore. That does have some policy implications at the congressional level. There's some deed restrictions in the deeds that transferred the land from the GLO, the state, over to the feds. And ultimately, the GLO has the right to take the land back if public access is restricted. So
There's three things that the GLO, a reversionary clause in there. One is oil and gas drilling, transportation on there. It's always been used to transport on there. Mm-hmm. And then the third is military use. So when that was assigned in the early 60s, that's in the actual contractual language. You close the beach to the people, then the state can come back and take it.
And the General Land Office Commissioner, when he was Gary Patterson, sent a letter threatening to do that. Mm-hmm. So the policy level question will be, if and when the National Seashore ever tried to ban the public from driving there, what's next? What do we do?
Well, let me tell you. I grew up here in Corpus, right? I grew up driving
so
on
you
those
understand
beaches.
the visceral nature of driving on the beach.
I'm riding on the beach,
You
right?
started shooting war, man.
Now, I think we can protect the turtles and ride on the beach.
Right.
Let's bring in the experts and tell us, okay, give us a plan. Show us the path. What do we need to do to protect these turtles and continue riding on the beach? I mean, turtles have been around for a long time, and we've been riding on the beach for a long time.
Right.
So don't tell me this is a new
Well, they
phenomenon,
dropped the
right?
speed limit to 15 miles an hour, which makes it tough for guys like Tyler to get down to Mansfield passing back in the day at 15 miles an hour.
That's right. That's why we have the cleanup. We have our big show cleanup on the last Saturday in February every year, because that's when they slow down to 15 miles an hour. It would take us 4 hours just to go down to where we need to clean at 15 miles an hour, and then you got to come back.
Wow.
Too. So
Well,
that's why they
one of the-
let that go.
that's
That'd
one
be a
of those-
beautiful drive, though.
Yeah.
At 15 miles an hour, you got plenty of time to look around, right? Watch for turtles.
Guy on an ice cream bicycle passes you.
But that's an issue that's been out there just sort of swirling for several years, and it looks like it's starting to focus a little bit on. Well, it's some.
We have a
Hey, hi.
barge
He
is
must be
saying hi.
listening. We got Well, it looks like a petroleum barge, right?
Yep.
There's some of your port business right
This
there.
is
That's
it.
right. That's the district barge. It's been in the district for 4 hours now.
That's very cool.
It's a district barge.
So it seems kind of unusual. You mentioned how much they've moved your boundaries around. Is that normal for somebody in Congress for 10 years?
Well, they've been trying to get rid of me for a long time, one way or another, through drawing the lines. They haven't been able to beat me at the ballot box, so they're trying to do it this way.
They finally got rid of Lloyd Doggett. He retired, right?
Yeah, he retired. And they've drawn my district so many times that, this is my 10th year. I thought of retiring, but they shouldn't have drawn me into my hometown of Corpus Christi because they did that. And I
There's a
said,
screw
"Oh,
up
no."
at the home office. Huh?
I feel like I'm coming home, and it's a beautiful town. It's a beautiful region. I have a lot of good friends and family here that I think I can spend a little time in Congress helping my hometown that I never had the opportunity to do. I did from an outside district because the city of Corpus Christi and the and the county of Nueces and the port of Corpus Christi have been visiting me for the last decade. And I always did everything I could to help, including bringing funding to some projects here because it was my hometown and I cared about it. I never thought I was going to end up running here.
Now, you actually sponsored some things here, didn't you?
You did. We did.
You carried it.
Congressman Cloud and I have worked together on a lot of projects to help the base, to help the port. I brought some funding money for some of the regional transportation folks here. And I brought $8 billion home to my congressional districts since I've been in Congress.
Explain to us, you talked about 10 years in Congress. How important is seniority in Congress?
It's very important, right? You don't know what a freshman is until you're a freshman in Congress,
Yeah,
right?
you're invisible.
You're in the basement. Nobody listens to you. You can't bring the money home.
Yeah.
Nobody in appropriations is going to write you a check. You got to build a reputation of being trustworthy, of being somebody that's real and that's trying to pass and support legislation that moves our region forward and show that you're normal. Unfortunately, Congress has been hijacked by the extremes, right? By the extreme left and the extreme right. And it's really paralyzed the process and abandoned most of the American people. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but there's still a group of us. I'm a group of, it's called the No Labels group, and it's 70 members of Congress, 35 Republicans and 35 Democrats, and we get together every single week. And you're not going to hear about this on Fox News or on MSNBC or CNN, but we get together every single week and talk about things that the majority of the American people care about.
What are the topics of this week?
Well, we need to balance the budget. We need to pay our debt back. We need to improve our infrastructure nationally. We need to have better health care that's accessible to the majority of the American people. Affordable prescription drugs. I've gone after PBMs for the last decade. They've gone after me every cycle when I run.
What is a PBM for?
That's right, a pharmacy benefit manager. They're the middleman between the drug manufacturers and the pharmacists.
They're controlling prices.
They control the prices. They gouge the American people, and I have been fighting them for a decade. And we brought back some regulations, and we've been able to cap insulin at $35 and bring some prices back. There's no reason why we're paying $500 for something Canadians are paying $50 for, right?
Yeah.
That's why we go to Progresso.
That's it. Or in Mexico, it costs $20.
Yeah.
And it's the same drug from the same manufacturer. Why are we scamming the American people that way? And I've been fighting PBMs for a decade. Me and my good friend Buddy Carter, he's my Republican colleague on the other side, we've supported legislation and actually changed the regulation and the rules which they now distribute drugs. For the first time, they came to my office last year and said, "Hey, we want to be part of your PBM reform." And I was like, "What do you mean? You are the PBM?" And I've been fighting them for 10 years. Now they're like, "Okay, you got us. We got them in a pretty good headlock right now, and they're willing to sit with us because they're thinking we're going to completely put them out of business. What we're going to do is make sure the American people aren't getting scammed, and that when they go out and buy a prescription drug, they're paying at a fair global market value. And back many times they'll say, "Well, it's because research and development." From these manufacturers, I say, yeah, but it can't be all on the backs of the American people. We need to share that research and development cost globally, and that has not been happening.
I bet you they got a lobby, don't they?
Like an army, right? Whenever they have a bill coming up or something going on, they hire an army, not a lobbyist. I'm talking 100 or 200 Democrats and Republicans, every color, every shape, talking to members across contributing to their campaigns.
Right.
Sounds like homeowners insurance.
So this cycle, when you're going to see some negative ads against me, funded by them, because they have PACs out there that fund those ads, and they come after me every other year.
What do they accuse you of?
Whatever they can, mostly it's just made up. If they'll look for any nuance to try to turn things out, right?
Well, I had a friend that got elected to Congress some years ago, and he said, I went up there expecting it to be a cesspool, but I found out real quick that it's a hot tub.
Yeah.
And so when you get elected, you go back to D.C., you said to hire an RB lobbyist. Who are the first people that line up? When you get, let's say you win this election, you go back into January, who's going to be the first lobby group that shows up?
Lobby, well, it depends what legislation is on the floor that's coming up. What's the most urgent issue for somebody?
What do you think it'll be? Can you tell it? It's early, I know.
It's hard to tell this far ahead, but let me tell you, pharmaceutical stuff's always on the
Yeah.
target. Energy, tax bills, those are all always.
Where are we with the oil and gas industry right now? Or it seems like the Eagle Ford has died out, gas prices, because of the war, what they are. But over the long haul, is the industry still pretty healthy?
It's very healthy. It's very healthy. I chair the Oil and Gas Caucus for the Democratic Party, and I think we're in a very good place. We went from being importers to exporters. We are energy independent. We need to make sure that we can keep prices down for the American people, right, at the same time. But we're now selling American LNG, Texas LNG, a lot of it that comes out of Corpus Christi,
going to
our
India
friends
now.
in Europe, our friends in Japan, South Korea, certainly India. India wants to buy more. But after the conflict with Ukraine, we really helped support Western Europe.
I didn't realize, I learned this a few weeks ago, that one of those LNG ships can pull into port and literally power some European cities
Oh yeah.
for up to months, depending on the size. Like, that's incredible. And that comes out of Corpus.
Yeah. I was in Spain last year on a government meeting, and they were so excited to be getting our Texas gas, probably coming from Corpus Christi, because they were just the middlemen. They were piping it to Northern Europe because they had some terminals there on their western coast, and they were like, hey, bring us all you can because we got a buyer for it all. Now, I think with time, that's unsustainable for the European continent, right? But right now, it's good for business for
Russia's
Texas.
not exporting
That's
now.
right.
What do you see? I mean, with the two ports that are in this district now, are you seeing much of the energy shift? Obviously, the LNG, you're seeing that, but people have been talking about blue and green hydrogen. Is that not going to happen? What about wind and solar?
I think we should be all of the above. When people talk about energy, I said we should be producing. We're an energy producing state. In my district, we produce wind, we produce gas, and we produce oil. And I have a photo in my office in Washington of a field that actually produces all three. And I try to say, the left is saying is all about wind and solar. The right is all about oil and gas. I think we should be about everything.
Well, there's a lot of windmill, a lot of turbines in this district. I
Yep.
drive to Kingsville
We should
today.
take full advantage of every energy source we can.
Well, and so what about nuclear? Are you seeing any shift to that on the federal level?
Yeah. So nuclear is a complicated issue, right? Especially
mini
folks my
plants.
age, right?
It's the mini plants, right?
You might start talking to some 20, 30-year-olds.
Yeah. We used to be against them. Now it seems like we're in favor of them. I don't know.
Well, we haven't had a problem worldwide in a long, long time, and,
Yeah.
and a lot of very clean nuclear energy is being used in Europe and many places around the
Well,
world.
they're going to the smaller plants, aren't they?
They are, and we're not that familiar with it. Hey, but we have a lot of natural gas here in Texas, so for Texas, I think we need to keep producing what we have and selling it to the world and improving our state.
What do you think would help the the wind industry has been under some pressure? If you're on that committee, what kind of stuff comes across your desk? What do you think we need to do to?
So-
Because we get a lot. We import those things here. We deploy them here.
Yeah.
We see them. They're part of our grid.
We're going to jump right back to that. We're going to leave y'all hanging for a sec. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Everybody hold fast.
I don't see them.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. My name is Jacob Oggs. We've got Dale Rankin, Congressman Vincente Gonzalez, Greg Smith, and Tyler Thorson joining us. I almost said your names backwards. It was funny. We left a bit of a cliffhanger when we jumped to the quick break, and then during the commercial break, which you can watch on Island Moon Live on YouTube, just go to our live videos section, and you can watch this entire thing. And go back and pick and choose. But where do you want to pick up? Because we talked about 8 different things.
Well, we're in the squirrel cage.
Yeah.
Is there anything maritime related to go with maritime law or anything like that that we need to be aware of? Anything with the shipping industry?
It's got to be the Jones Act always comes into play.
It does, and there's a lot of there's a lot of push on both sides, right? On the Jones Act, but that comes up every other year.
How did you get into politics?
Well, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, right. What kind of law were you practicing?
I did first-party insurance litigation. So I sued insurance carriers on behalf of policyholders, mostly for property damage after hurricanes, and I did construction defect cases for large commercial buildings throughout the state, and after.
Did you ever do anything windstorm related?
I did.
Yeah.
Did a whole lot of it. I know a lot about windstorm insurance and the high prices everybody's paying.
Greg and I, we're going to get to that. Greg's on that board, and we're making some progress.
We're making good progress.
We have some good news.
Of TWIA, and I actually tried to get the rates lowered 4% a couple of weeks ago.
The group that monitors the prices came in and said your prices are 9% too high.
Right.
So Greg said, well, let's drop them 4 and we'll put 5 in reserve. And when the vote came up, the person on the 5-member committee who's supposed to be there representing consumers voted against him. To not.
Is this TWIA?
TWIA, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The actuarial committee.
The actuarial committee, it'll be going before the board August the 4th. That meeting will be in Galveston on there. I'm going to bring it back up. I don't think I'll be successful, but this is what the numbers say. So for 20 years, the numbers have said raise rates, raise rates. So in that 20 years, 10 times rates have been raised. So I made the comment on that. Boy, we sure raised them when you said to raise rates. Now the numbers are telling us to lower it.
Yeah. We should lower them.
Check got lost in the mail. Is there a federal role in that?
No.
It's just all at the state level.
State level.
All of that. Congressman, you mentioned that you felt like the industry should pour money back into places like Corpus Christi all along the coast.
Yep.
And
so,
that's what I was thinking of that because of we get punished. We live here in the community that pours out all this oil and gas stuff, and then they penalize us because, oh, you live on the coast, so we're going to screw you out of.
Well, we pay for the infrastructure.
Right. And
What
it just doesn't make sense.
you talk about the tax revenue from the massive exports, right?
Right.
Okay.
But also the cost of providing infrastructure to do that.
That's right. So what I'm proposing with a Republican colleague of mine is a bill that we're not asking industry to pay more taxes. We're not asking the energy industry to pay more taxes. We're asking the federal government, who taxes energy exports by hundreds of billions of dollars, the oil and gas that gets exported from the United States out of ports like Corpus Christi, Brownsville, Galveston, Houston, Shreveport, other places around the country, not Galveston, but the others, and others on the West Coast, carry a huge burden. And what I'm asking is a small portion of those tax revenues should be redirected to cities and counties like Corpus Christi and Nueces County. And I drive through Corpus Christi sometimes, and it looks like it needs a big paint job. And they can't get enough tax revenues from the small community, so they need to find other sources. And what I'm trying to ask, we see almost $250 billion of energy exports come out of our hub and get exported to the world, but very, very little of that in terms of tax dollars stays here in Corpus and in Nueces County and other counties similar like ours that carry the burden of making this happen. Mm-hmm. So all I'm asking is for the federal government to be considerate, and it may be like a 0.003% of 1% of the resources that get exported out of a terminal to be brought back to cities and counties like Corpus Christi and others. I think there's like probably 10 or 15 in the entire nation that do what we do around here. Mm-hmm. And imagine what it could do to the infrastructure. There wouldn't be no more potholes in Corpus Christi, and our schools would be better, and our healthcare facilities would be better, and our veteran care. We could invest in so many different things.
27,000 veterans in this community.
We could pay for thank you. That's great. Thank everybody for their service. Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't be arguing about paying for a desal plant if we had a lot of resources. But it's a small community. There's 350,000 people in this region, in this county, and it's just not enough to produce the taxes, the tax revenues that you need to really accomplish a lot more than we need.
We'd have the new car lots on SPID again instead of all the blight.
Frank's got all the cars now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I do once. Frank said one thing pretty funny. He talked about everybody's trying to get was scared of the COVID vaccine, but now
Yeah.
they're getting those mixes where you lose weight or yourself from a granny selling tamales. They don't care where it came
Get your
from.
GLP-1s
Yes.
from Rosie's or whatever deli. Yeah.
Well, Vicente, is there any sort of a regional, like not a regional development corporation? Each city, like here in Corpus, we have the regional development group. Is there any group like that for the whole valley that includes Corpus? Is there any sort of overreaching policy-making group?
I don't believe there is. I know, as members of Congress, we talk to each other. The legislators from each area talk
Yeah.
to each other. I'm hoping we can create
So it
one,
happens
right?
at that level.
Yeah, I think they talk to each other. There's caucuses, for regional caucuses.
Right.
I know
but
that
nothing formal, no standing committee.
No, it'd be great if there were.
What about immigration? How much that comes up as you work the campaign trail? I assume that it's
Well, a lot, right?
yeah.
Especially right now.
What do people want to know, and what do they not like, or what do they like?
I'll tell you what I like and don't like. Right, I was one of the most critical Democrats in the country on how President Biden handled the southern border, and it was a disgrace. And I told him, I'll never forget, September of 23. I told him, if you don't fix that border, you're going to lose your reelection, and we're going to get wiped out. And we sure as hell did.
Well, you're wrong. He didn't lose.
Well,
Yeah.
the administration, the Democrats lost, right? But he
bailed.
You could Google Matt Gaetz, Vicente Gonzalez. Matt Gaetz is one of the most right-wing Republicans in the country, and he brought me on the show one time, and he himself said, I'm glad President Biden, because I've been bitching for a long time, I'm glad President Biden didn't listen to you, or we wouldn't be in the majority right now.
Well, what problems did it create in the valley? What did you
Well,
see?
clearly we didn't have the infrastructure to handle hundreds of thousands of people coming through it, whether it's hospitals, whether it's transportation, buses, airports, just base hotels, rooms. We didn't have a respite center to receive them all, and it was very, very tough. The Rio Grande went red last cycle, and I attribute most of that to how the last administration handled the border. And I attributed my winning and my success to me opposing the policies of my own party when I knew they were wrong. And I stood out really loud, and I got in a lot of trouble in D.C. But at the end of the day, I proved them wrong. And,
What needs to change?
now let me tell you,
You're on the front lines.
right? But let me tell you, well, we need to figure out how to fix our immigration problem that's broken.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do, I was real hard about the border. We shouldn't have let people in the way we did under this asylum law that is a very low standard, and 80% of those people never qualify for asylum. At the same time, some of those hyper-aggressive ICE raids that we're seeing around the country are also disgraceful.
Yeah.
And the way you see humans being treated, I think there's a lot easier ways to deport people. I'm 100% for deporting criminals. I think we definitely need to deport every criminal out of here. And if we have good, hardworking people that have been here for 20 years and are contributing to our economy, we should find a legal status for them to be here and for their businesses to be able to hire them, because we have a labor shortage in this country.
What kind of presence does ICE have in the cities in your district? Do you see a lot of agents down there?
We do in the Rio Grande Valley. You see a lot in the bigger cities, Houston. Houston.
I see them. I drive to Kingsville each week and pick up papers, and I see them constantly on the road there.
Really? Yeah, Houston. They just killed an old man yesterday. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
that.
I did.
It's really sad. Dallas, San Antonio.
But are they like active? Are they stopping people? How often do you encounter them?
So they have different. They ratchet up at certain times and they ratchet down, and just depending, right? When they can get very aggressive and be everywhere picking people up. And I'm okay. If you're undocumented and you got to go, and let's just find a humane way to send you home.
Right.
And if you're a criminal, we should definitely send you home. Right.
What about?
In fact, I'm for deporting American criminals.
Brett, we're going to break.
We're going to run, take a quick break on the radio and get some news to you, but Island Moon Live will return. We'll be back from 1 to 2 shortly here on KEYS Corpus Christi, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. Keep it on Island Time.
Bob Hope here, and nursing this lukewarm beer. Just wondering how I landed here. Someone pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Yes.
by Cafe Hilltop Cafe.
Oh my gosh, that direction
On
out.
87, yeah.
I like that cafe.
Right there. Yeah. Oh, it's a great.
All right,
spot.
next segment, 11 minutes. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back to Island Moon Live. We've got a crew full of people, starring Vincente Gonzalez, our congressman and candidate for our new refurb District 34, we'll call it, as well as Tyler Thorson, Kim Irwin, Dale Rankin, Greg Smith, and my name is Jacob Oggs. And well, let's jump right on back where we were on the conversation before. Dale, you want to
Well,
pick it up?
I have a question on the. Did you see that? Did you know the redistricting was coming? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you hear things in Washington.
I didn't know that we were going to get redistricted in the middle of the decade. I wasn't quite expecting that. Now, one of my Republican colleagues told me of the rumor, but I just didn't think it was actually going to happen, and it turned into like a national civil redistricting war.
Yeah.
But you know, I get to be back in Corpus Christi. So
Well, the district is, I think, what, about 53% lean Republican.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
And where's the biggest group of Republicans and the biggest group of Democrats in the district? The concentration.
I would, I'd have to look at the data closely, but probably, if I had to guess, the biggest group of Republicans are probably in Nueces County, and the biggest group of Democrats are probably in Cameron County.
Cameron County. That's Brownsville, right?
Yeah, it's Harlingen, Brownsville, Port Isabel, South Padre.
Can you cross the border now?
You
None of
can't-
us here
you-
only go to
lot-
Progresso. and that's
let me
it.
tell you, a lot of folks cross the border. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't because Congressman Dan Crenshaw and I, we founded the cartel task force in Capitol Hill, and we've been pretty hard and heavy on them for the last several cycles.
That's like pissing off the Gambinos.
Yes, I'm like, why would I want to cross the border, right? I don't
cigars at
think I don't
steakhouses.
think I'm the best candidate to be crossing the border. Now,
What is the influence of the cartels in the valley or in your district? What do you
yeah,
see?
so in the valley, let me tell you, the valley's a very safe place. McAllen is the 7th safest city.
do you
in
see money coming across?
they catch everything right off
Yeah.
the border, but it's one of the least, it's one of the safest regions in terms of crime in the country. So whatever happens on the other side of the border. I would say McAllen's the 7th safest city in America.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the safest cities.
Do they
And-
still have the camps down there? I should know that.
the migrant camps?
Yeah,
Pretty much they've been taken down.
they have.
Yeah, there's a few facilities that are still there, but small ones. But it's not what it was.
So
a
they
few-
just
they're like
ship
these
them out.
they're like these massive pop-up tents that have 200,000 square feet. And
So they
and
deported the people that were in there.
either deported them or released them into the country. at
Where
some
did most of them come from?
So at one point, they were all coming from the Northern Triangle, which is Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
Right.
That was about between 75 and 85%
Wow.
of the migrants. But as word got out that you could come to our border and abuse our immigration policies that we had in place at the time, and especially the way we were handling asylum claims at the border, we started seeing people from all over the world: Haiti, China, Southeast Asia,
Yemen.
Yemen. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was horrible. We saw Russians. I mean, everybody had a story to tell.
Yeah.
And there's a laundry list of reasons to make an asylum claim, and they all know what to say. And then once they claim it at the, we didn't even have asylum officers to actually do a proper interview. They were released in, and then it would take years.
In the
to get-
meantime,
to
they're
get-
out there.
And
That's right.
We've got some people on YouTube on Island Moon Live who are asking about kind of policies on sanctuary cities as well. And is that anything that you're seeing on the federal level? How does that impact us down here with the work you
I
do?
think San Antonio is our nearest sanctuary.
Yeah,
city, isn't
I think it is. So they don't get certain federal funds or state funds if they decide to be a sanctuary city.
How does that pop up in policy on your desk? Is it the bills for funding in those cities? And
Yeah,
does it run along
that
party
becomes a
lines?
problem for them, right? Locally, that's really a local issue because the locals have to decide if they're going to be a sanctuary city or not, if they're going to cooperate with ICE or not, or if they're going to how they're going to handle their local policy, and then depending on how they decide to do it is how their potential funding will be impacted by either federally or by the state.
What issue or what item do you think will determine the race in the congressional race? Is there one big issue, or is there one thing that's turnout? Obviously,
I hope my experience, a decade in Washington, bringing home $8 billion, being a middle-of-the-road Democrat. In fact, I really consider myself a middle-of-the-road elected official because, I can agree on policies on both sides and vote on policies on both
Where
sides.
are you trying to drive the highest turnout in the district?
I hope across the board. We want to run the board, right? I'm from Corpus Christi. I was born and raised here. You don't have anyone. My opponent is from 2 districts away.
Yeah.
And his dad, former state rep, brought him over here to run, and he's been running in this district. And I think people need to do their research, right? Who are you going to elect? I make it's this simple. If you were going to put your family in a jet and fly them 10,000 miles across the world, would you do it with somebody that's done it 1,000 times, or would you do it with somebody that says, "I've never done it, but if you let me try, I think I can do it"?
Okay. So on a typical day campaigning, tell us what that's like? Do you drive the district?
I do. I drive all over my district. We have some official events where we meet with city officials or city managers at the county level, Chamber of Commerce, officials. We go and talk to the business community, and from top to bottom, I meet with educators.
Where
meet
do you
with school
go?
boards.
You drive like a typical day. You get up in Corpus. You drive to Brownsville.
Yeah, well, I could tell you from here, I'm driving to the Valley, and I'm working through the evening, and tomorrow morning I'm flying back to Washington, D.C.
And when you get to D.C., what's a day like there?
That's a great question. So days don't begin super early. They
Yeah.
begin around 9 or 10 in the
Got to
morning.
get out of the hot tub.
Yeah, they don't begin super early. I think I got there late. I got there way after the hot tub days. Unfortunately, it's been all work and grind for us. But my day begins between 9 and 10 a.m. But at 9 in the evening, we're still going. So
Yeah.
I tell folks it's not things aren't really super early. Every once in a while, I'll have 7 a.m. breakfast. For the most part, committees get going around 9 or 10 a.m. But at 9 or 10 p.m., you could still be going. So I have 10, 12, 14-hour days every single day.
Are you on the floor most of that time?
We're on the floor twice a day on the average. We have 2 voting sessions, one usually in the morning or around noon, and then one in the after 6 or 7. And sometimes we're voting at 3 in the morning, right, when we can't agree, and we're debating, and we're squeezing each other, and we're twisting arms, and we're trying to figure out how to get the votes. The whips are out there, depending on who's in the majority, either to stop it or get it across, right? And that takes time, and sometimes, there's some speakers that won't put something on the floor if they don't have 100% of the votes.
Right.
They'll keep twisting arms outside, which I think is a smart and better way to do it. But Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, doesn't. He puts it on the floor and then can potentially have it open for hours, right? I'll never forget the big Trump's so-called big beautiful bill, right, was on the floor for hours because they couldn't get Massey to vote for it.
Oh.
And the story is, Massey was they needed that vote to pass that bill. Yeah. And they took him to the White House, and they cut a deal where they were going to leave him alone. They were going to leave him alone if he voted for it, and they were going to take out the attack ads in his primary election off in Kentucky, which they did. But unfortunately, it only lasted that deal only lasted for 3 weeks, and 3 weeks later, they were hitting him again, and then all the Epstein file stuff came back, and here we are.
So do you get pressure from the party? Do they ever? You see it on the Republican side; they'll threaten to primary somebody. Does that happen on the Democrat side as well?
So they've kind of given up on me, right? I've been there for 10 years, so I don't get whipped anymore. I vote for energy. I vote for trade. I vote for border security. I vote for a lot of, I just voted for the NDAA. We want to make sure we have the best and most funded military in the world and best prepared. So those are things that are non-negotiable within my party, and they don't bother me. I voted on the bill. I voted against trans kids playing in girls' sports.
Yeah.
I was only one of only 2 Democrats in the country that voted for that.
Now, you didn't pull up the bottom of the reflecting pool, did you?
He put algae in there.
No. Okay.
So those are the things that I vote for that my party doesn't agree with me on, but I believe that that's who I am, and those are the votes. They've left me alone. They primary me. I had a Democratic Socialist. We whooped him pretty good, 25 points, which tells you that the majority of even Democrats in the region are not that progressive here.
Well, that seems
So-
to be the split on the Democratic side now. We've seen some recent elections where they veered left a little bit.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's happened on both sides, right?
Yeah.
The extremes have gone to the left and to the right.
Yeah.
And have abandoned the majority of the American people. And I'll tell you the cause if we have 2 minutes,
Sure.
right? I get asked this all the time. How can we unite our country, right, short of a war? And we certainly need to do this. And I think the biggest cause for the division in America has been redistricting these extremely gerrymandered districts that are D's plus in blue states they're D's plus 20 and 30, and in red states they're R's plus 20 and 30, and you make them so extreme to the left and the right that they have no ambition, no purpose, no incentive to work together and reach across party lines. Because if they do, they get punished and primaried in their primary, like happened to Senator Cornyn just now, and like happened to those Democrats in New York. Right? They're getting primaried from the extremes within their own party.
Right.
I mean, Senator Cornyn was one of the most conservative Democrats in the country, and he was a real gentleman.
yeah.
I can't believe that he was defeated. I mean, he was as conservative as it come, but he was a real traditional,
Yeah.
normal.
He was a Bush Republican.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Right.
I knew him when he began as a district judge in Bexar County years
yeah.
and years ago. I think down here it's weird because Nueces County, we saw more people vote in the Democratic primary, but when you look at the countywide races, most of them are Republican.
Yeah, if you got to track that. Certain years Republicans vote more in the primary, and certain years Democrats vote more in the primary.
We're going to get right back to some election facts and things upcoming. When we return, everybody hold fast.
Yeah, so I went back 12 years.
Thank God it's Padre.
I looked at primaries and just the overall primary bottom number.
No.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
We're talking about Frank the Bank and.
Exactly.
Frank the Bank.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Grandma with the peptides over there in Flower Bluff.
Welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our beautiful Docks Waterline studio. Dale Rankin, Kim Irwin, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez. We got Greg Smith and Tyler, the salty angler Thorson, joining us. We've been, just before the last break, we were talking about kind of elections and election changes. You've been through a few elections, and you've staved off a few different opponents. Do you see anything different on this election, or how's it looking?
Well, we got to continue to work hard. We don't take any election for granted. You got to respect your voters. You got to communicate with them. You got to show them what you've done in your time, in my time in Congress, what I've done in my life as a lawyer for 20 years before that. And in Corpus, I talk about my time here in Corpus, being born and raised and growing up here and caring about my community more than anybody who's not from here. And I want to be hyper-focused and bring in resources and growing business and improving lives.
What percentage of your voters are new to your district? Do you know?
42%.
Really?
That's amazing.
Wow, that's a lot. I would have guessed 20, maybe.
Well, let me tell you, in 2020, they redistricted my home into a 75% new district.
Really?
Obviously hoping for me to lose. I'm still doing that. But
In Congress, you don't have to live in your district. It's one of the few
Yeah.
offices you don't have to live in your district.
well, I own a home here in Corpus Christi. This is always have. This is my home.
What do you got a lot of agriculture land in your district. What are you hearing from the farmers?
Yeah, so that's why we're talking about immigration. The biggest struggle for farmers right now is
Labor?
labor, yes.
Yeah.
Besides tariffs, right, which is also a huge problem. But labor, one of my good friends, he farms a big farm. He farms 15,000 acres every year. And
Cotton, grain?
just different row crops. And this year, he's farming half of it because he doesn't have the labor to harvest his own production.
Wow.
And what does that do? Well, that makes you have less tomatoes and onions and cucumbers at the grocery store. And when you have less, what happens to prices? They
go up.
continue to go up.
And
So-
agriculture is creating wealth out of the ground. It's like a mine. It's
really cool.
renewed every year.
Yeah.
It's new wealth. It's stuff you didn't have the previous year. Are they looking for subsidies? Are they looking for what's their attitude toward labor?
We subsidize agriculture in a big way,
Sure.
right?
But what about labor? Are they looking for subsidized labor? Are they looking for different labor rules?
You would have to subsidize it because let me tell you, my friend was paying. This is for citrus, right? Was paying at one point $16 an hour, which
That's
is not
pretty
bad.
good.
Right? $16 an hour to pick grapefruits and onions. There were no takers. No takers.
In the valley.
In the valley. Americans have gotten soft the last generation or two. I don't know if you've noticed, right? So, unfortunately, you try to go find a 16 or 18-year-old kid that wants to go and pick
Yeah.
American kid that wants to go and do this hard labor. They're not going to do it. They'll go to Starbucks and get paid $15 an hour and get health insurance, or go to Walmart or find some other job in the
So
air
what do? We had the Bracero program. We had
Yeah.
the Reagan era program in the 80s.
And we have some visas for farmers, but it's not enough. That's why my friend's only farming half of his land, because he has some visas and for workers, but not enough. And he's a big operation. He doesn't got any undocumented folks. They're all coming. Another group that's been really impacted is commercial fishing. I have 200 commercial fishing boats in my district now in Port Isabel, and they can't find labor. And most of their labor, they used to be on these reviving visas that would come every season from like Tampico or Veracruz. These guys knew how to fish,
Right.
and they would join our fleet, 200 boats, and they would go out for 3 or 4 months, and then make some good money, and they'd go home. Those visas were canceled, and we don't have enough visas, so some of those boats are sitting at the dock. So they're catching less. They're already in trouble. Fuel costs,
Right.
foreign imports. They already have a lot of problems.
Well, one of the issues we've had here is too much foreign fishermen.
Yeah.
The barkers are coming across, and we don't have a Coast Guard cutter
Yeah.
here. We've been trying to get one. We're trying to get one at the station here, but they come up and catch.
It was estimated that the illegal snapper catch coming in from Mexico was more than the recreational harvest.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. No, we've been catching them down there. The Coast Guard has, but not enough, right?
We need a cutter in our Coast Guard.
I have a
You
good
just-
place for a cutter. Right, I would think over there at the
Well, they could. One of the things we were talking about CCAD, and there was talking about moving some Coast Guard facilities in there. I think like a training facility, and also trying to get
that would be helpful.
trying to get to me it didn't make any sense. You have 3 cutters on the Texas coast. We're the closest to the border, and we don't have one.
And we're the biggest oil export port.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could use more security around our region.
And they come across, and we find, you see the boats washed up on the beach and everything like that down here. But it's been a problem that's been going on for, I don't know.
Back to
decade.
CCAD, when we had the Brack rock star that was on here, he had mentioned there was some laws that you couldn't have any other people from someplace working. They had to all live here in that general area to work on something. So in other words, if you had the Sikorskis or whatever they're making up in Fort Worth, they couldn't be working on them down here. Did you fix that?
I don't know the details of that, but that doesn't surprise me. That sounds like another typical federal government bureaucracy that needs to get fixed, right? We've broken through a lot of those, but yeah, those are. But at least that's something that could be looked at and say, okay, how can we change these rules and make it work? We definitely need more Coast Guard around our coast and all the way down to the border. And fishing is the least of the problems. We need to definitely catch these fishing guys, but we got people bringing in drugs and other contraband. And the biggest threat to commercial fishing in the United States is foreign imports. And we don't pay enough attention to that. We've taken care of our farmers in that regard. We haven't done it to our commercial fishing, and we're losing American commercial fishing every year, the industry. And eventually, we will have less, sea-grown seafood, American grown seafood.
Well, out here on the island, we hear a lot of complaints, just because we have a lot of wetlands. Complaints about the Corps of Engineers, how long it takes to get permitting done.
Oh my God!
And that's
We should have sent Doge there first.
Yeah. I have these guys that'll come in and they'll say, "I'm from Houston and I built this, this, and this, and I'm just going to put in a commercial building over here, and I'll have it done in a year." And I go, "Well, do you have any wetlands?" And they go, "I don't know what that is." And I go, "Oh, you poor man."
Let me tell you, don't get me started on the Army Corps. I've been dealing with them for a decade. And
What's the problem?
They talk about a broken bureaucratic system. That's why I said Doge should have started there. And actually, when I met with them, I told them you should go and visit the Army Corps. And I don't think they got to them before they left. But there's a lot of improvement that could be had. They're just systematically broken. It's pulling teeth for every project.
It should not be the hardest thing to get done from somebody who's trying to build property.
Right.
I'm sure you hear that a lot, don't you, Kim?
I hear it a lot.
People trying to develop, and they get stuck with trying to get their permitting done.
That and water.
And it can take 2 or 3 years,
I remember we had, when Judge Canales was here, we were trying to rebuild the parking lot over there at Bob Hall, and she had an in with the head Corps of an Engineer guy, and he thought, this is going to make it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it only took 5 years.
Yeah.
Instead of the normal 10. So what's the solution? You just got to start at the top and work your way down, or start at the bottom and work your way
So
up?
what I do, whenever I have a project in my district, I call the colonel directly, who's based out of Galveston, and say, I've got this problem. Help me fix. Let's work through it. And I'll call them into my office, or I'll go visit them, and I focus into whatever the issue, my problem is, and I push till it gets resolved.
So you're trying to talk logic to an engineer.
And a
How
bureaucratic
does that?
one.
So does that work out? What's their attitude? Does it move things along?
It depends. It depends. I try to have a good attitude to
Right.
get them to have a good attitude back, right?
Right.
And build a relationship to where when I call them, they're more helpful.
They're at
maybe
least
than-
going to take your second
Yeah,
phone
well,
call.
I hope they've resolved my problem, and they've
Right.
resolved many of my problems. But I could tell you that it's systematically very complicated, and I deal with every bureaucratic federal agency in the country, and some are better than others.
What's the best one?
Boy, the best one, the Department of Ag works pretty well. And USDA has its problems, but it works okay.
Did
Department of
USDA
Energy,
take a hit on the labor force?
They did.
I'd heard
that was bad. That's a problem, and we need to fix that.
That's what I'd heard. I have a friend that son works in that industry in meat packing, and they had their labor force washed out when they all left. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here. Is there anything we haven't covered, or anything that we missed?
No, I think we probably missed some things. I'll be happy to come back at some point. But thank y'all for having me.
We will. And we had Eric Flores on a few months ago. That interview is available on our YouTube site, as this one will be. So as things move forward, we'll have you back, and we'll see what else comes up.
Thank you.
Is there anything in this race that surprised you? Anything different about this race, this cycle? Other than just the polarity.
Let me tell you, every race is different, right?
Yeah.
Every opponent is different. Every
It's like a
district is
hurricane.
different.
Everyone's
Yeah.
different.
You gotta be adaptable and you gotta slide. And
What's the
glide,
best part
right?
about the job? What do you like about it?
Well, to me, helping people, helping my community, bringing home resources, changing lives, giving people better health care, taking care of senior citizens to make sure they have the resources they need, taking care of our veterans, improving infrastructure. I want to get rid of all the potholes in
Yeah.
America.
Sounds
Well,
like
Kim, you're in the real estate business. What is there anything the federal side could do to help the real estate industry?
Oh my gosh, the interest rates, everything. You know, the interest rates, especially for the first-time home buyers, and even for like new construction homes, the loans, kind of like that, a whole revamp right now. That would really help buyers.
All right. Well, a lot more coming. Congressman, thanks again for your
Hey,
visit,
thanks a
and
lot.
we will see you soon. Taking a quick break. Everybody hold fast.
Thanks a lot, guys.
She's about to. Yeah. She's
Hey, so
coming in.
you selling real estate?
You got to take off?
Thank you to everybody sticking around on YouTube. And we are going to jump right back on into this.
Is this the one for here?
Yeah, they should be all about the same. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. How long do you have, Kim? 5 minutes?
10 minutes.
About 10? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. This is an 11-minute segment. We can just knock this out real quick. All right, you ready?
You bet.
And welcome back to Island Moon Live. We are here at our gorgeous Docks Waterline studio at the base of the beautiful JFK. Kim Irwin, Tyler Thorson, Dale Rankin, and my name is Jacob Oggs. Special thanks to Vincente Gonzalez for stopping by and being a part, and Greg Smith for being a part of our conversation earlier. If you missed out, you can just go to YouTube.
Well, for
And,
the people that are watching, I'm not the congressman. I took his seat.
Oh, you did?
I
I
just want I'll be on one side.
Aren't you
of
the
it.
Shift it
mayor of
over,
Padre
yeah.
Island, Mayor Dale?
So we've got real estate wise. We've had. It's been a while since we've had you on. What's going on in the real estate world? Anything new?
It's kind of interesting. So right now, we'll talk about like Padre Island, Flower Bluff, but our closed sales went up 18.2%. That's an approximate, and it's always 1 month behind when I get
So
my
that was
statistics.
that was for the month in June then.
Correct. And actually, it's the end of May to the end of June. So they count the end of May a little bit as well. But what's interesting, at least their sales, it's kind of like a pocketed sales. The market that's still lagging from the last time that I was on your show is your multifamily, which is condos, townhouses. Okay, so
Seems like that'd be up because they can do short-term rental.
you can't. Well, you have to look at the bylaws; they're a little tricky. So some of them, let's say Aruba Bay, for example, you can do only if you're the owner. You have to either use on-site management or you can do it yourself, which is through Airbnb, and that's what my daughter April Knowles and I do. So it does a lot better, honestly. But some of the condo complexes prohibit hiring another rental company, or they have to pay a surcharge. Each one's different. You have
Does
to
that
research
affect
it.
price?
It affects availability. To me, sometimes you want to use on-site management, but then sometimes it doesn't cash flow. Your bills still are the same every month, so you got to kind of get a little bit energetic
Right.
and make more money.
Well, we had Gobby Hill pulled on here a while back, and she owns a lot of rent homes.
Oh, yes.
She said the margin on rent homes on the island is now 2-3%. You don't make any money by the time you catch up with the taxes that are always a year ahead of you,
Right.
and everything, all the expenses that go into it. It's not a good margin investment.
It's not lucrative, but you have to look at it two ways, Dale. People do.
You're getting
So-
some equity out of it.
Equity and appreciation. Remember, it's how you buy it, not
Yeah.
how you sell it. So anyway, people look at it as maybe a write-off, and then they build appreciation. But where the prices are now with the cost of property taxes, I don't know if you noticed, they came down.
Yeah,
This year, the property taxes came down.
that was the state legislature knocked some numbers off of our evaluations.
That
for
one-
school taxes.
School taxes, but the sales are less. So if people go in to fight them, and fight your taxes downtown at the appraisal district, there are lower comps. So, and we get calls all the time. I use American Ad Valorem, Selena Boggs. You should have her on here. She is the smartest person, I think, in the state of Texas to fight property taxes. She knows the ins and outs.
She uses a gun.
Well, she could probably, but she wouldn't tell you.
So what's selling best right now? I see a
Interior lot
of-
homes.
I see a lot of big homes on the market.
Wow, that's an interesting one. So if you look at your comps from $1.5 million to over $2 million, and you take it to September of this coming year, you only have a few comps, very few. That market is slow. Under 1.5 million is a little better. Interior lot homes, that's incredible. So what I've seen is interior lot homes, like with pools or big yards, big enough for pools, they're selling. But waterfront homes, say under $500,000. When is the last time you even heard of that? I mean,
Are there some out there?
yeah, there are, and there's some
Really?
coming up, but they need a lot of work.
Right.
So, and sometimes the buyers do their own work, so it's worth it. So if they buy a house on the water for $450,000, put their own elbow grease in it, I mean, they could have a $650,000, $700,000 home.
What are the trends? What are people what's up and what's down in terms of what people are coming in asking for. You're in the summer buying season right now,
Right.
so I'm assuming you've got families relocating between school.
Yeah, between school and those interior lot homes are bigger homes. You'll see 4 and 5
okay.
bedrooms. So if you think about it and you look at your demographic trends for buyers, bigger families, or if they're working out of their house, like either the husband or the wife, or both of them, on a 5-bedroom, they each have their own office.
Right.
They're going to not get divorced.
Right.
They're going to have their own
Sure.
office.
We
Right.
see a lot of that at Complete Foundation Repairs. We go into houses and, oh, this is my home office. I work out of here. And like, okay, will we disturb you? Like, well, no, we have to go. Like, can you move your car? Oh, well, I'll have to. So you have to. It's amazing how many people work at home and have their own home
Well, you're
offices.
seeing that in the city, in the inner cities, San Antonio and Austin both. They're the 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos in the high rises. That's the hot market. It's off a little bit right now, but
Right.
you live in one and work in the other, and you're living in downtown Austin
It-
with all of the good and bad.
With all the good and bad, I think it'd be fun. I'd find all the good there. But
Well, you were just up in Fredericksburg, right?
yes, Fredericksburg, people laugh, but that I truly believe is your new Napa Valley, Sonoma County. And if you look at they added 2 more terroirs, which is we have the Coastal Bend vineyards, and then we also have down in Brownsville. But the Texas High Plains is where the most of the grapes are grown. And we have the fast growing season, so they grow faster, more sugary, but it's in your processing.
So
in
they
your
bring
pressing.
they bring them down to Fredericksburg to wine. They buy the grapes in the Panhandle and bring them to Fredericksburg.
Yeah, so the key of it is if it's 100% Texas wine, all the grapes have to come from Texas, but you can import them all around Texas.
Okay.
In Fredericksburg, that farm ground is so high, to buy enough farm ground to produce
it's not
grapes.
worth it, yeah.
No, but the Texas High Plains, it's easy.
Well,
What?
the only game in town used to be Messina Hoff.
Right.
That was years ago, but now
Right.
they can grow. Used to be just the reds they're good, and the whites were kind of.
Right.
Is it still that way?
Well, it's changing a little bit because people do like the reds and or the whites and the rosés. But what's really interesting is the Texas Tempranillo grape. That's the grape that saved all of European vineyards because they had got a really bad the Pearson's disease. So what happened was they grafted the Texas grape. And they saved it because the Texas grape is drought-proof,
Didn't have that blight,
pestilence,
yeah.
freezing, and they're good grapes. Actually, in the property I have there, I have the original Texas Tempranillo growing wild. It's pretty cool.
What's the market up there like?
It's a lot better. Now, that market did suffer as well, but it's coming back. Right now, there's like 42, 43 permits to build vineyards there and
Really?
wineries.
Wow.
I mean, you could find anything
I thought
that
the
you're
Germans
looking
were
for.
beer drinkers.
You can have beer there too.
Well, I
Oh,
think they
do
shoot
both.
wine
They-
in between
yeah,
the beer.
everything on the Rhine is just covered with vineyards.
It is.
What lessons can we learn from Fredericksburg on the island? What are they doing? That market's been booming for 25 years.
Because they are more of a can-do area and they're into marketing. If you look at the amount of money they get off of tourism,
Yeah.
it is phenomenal. But one thing about Fredericksburg, they are by the books. So like I did a historic German Victorian home, everything by the book. Everything.
You have to
And
use the
could-
original paint and all that kind of
and,
stuff.
and to get those individual aluminum roofs that are individual aluminum tiles, it took almost 6 months to get those made. There you sat, non-cash flow for
but that's
6 months.
that's your
Do
historical.
you have plaster walls and you have to put the lath in there too?
Everything on the inside you can pick your palette of colors, but the outside has to be the same. But the other thing is on your short-term rentals. So before with the mayor a couple mayors ago, they somehow pushed through short-term rentals where they shouldn't have in residential areas. And when those homes sell, it's like Port Aransas. You have to make sure that you have that short-term rental permit when you buy as a buyer. Because they're not allowing it. Well, I'm located in the hotel motel district, so you can have 8 cottages per acre. They allow it. It's not going to change unless hotels just get torn down.
Do you get a lot of potential home buyers that want to do short-term rental in our residential neighborhoods?
Absolutely, and you can't.
Yeah.
I will tell you though, the city is issuing in Flower Bluff a lot of short-term rental permits. Pretty unbelievable.
I don't think I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance, but I don't think they singled Flower Bluff out. They did, and then they removed it.
Right.
The island, we can't do it in RS6, but I think Flower Bluff's like the rest of the city. You do, is it 20% or 30% on a block or something like that?
They can at the D.R. Horton project off of Flower Bluff
Yeah,
Drive.
yes.
I sold 2, and they got their short-term rental permit immediately because it's brand new, close to the beach, and it's affordable. So at $250,000 back then, it's a lot more affordable than
Nothing,
Padre
yeah.
Island real estate.
So if you-
well, a lot more island stuff to get to when we return. Everyone, hold fast.
I remember we were on 512, but we just got a little too big. Not too big to go out fishing, though. Out buying a rig. Well, I've bounced my ass off that sandbar. I've had tar between my toes. I watched the sunrise against the sand dune. That's right, I'm one of those.
You know what my favorite one is?
I'm Texas Island country.
And take the boat
St. Joe. 3-6 bonus with the 830. Baffin down out to Rockport. Surfside.
Yeah, I'm all about the meat.
Texas
I did it at Forrest
Island
Hammer.
country.
What?
Did it at Forrest Hammer.
830 is with the 361.
Where Maggie Pinch? No one will know.
No, go check out
Good to
Forrest
see
Hammer.
you. Thanks again, Kim.
Well, thank you guys. See you next Friday. Or
Next Thursday.
Bring Tempranillo.
Right?
I'm wearing some behind my ears.
Where we got? One more, two more.
One more.
That ought to hold a little faster. I mean,
Off this here. All right, about 9 minutes.
All right.
And welcome aboard once again to Island Moon Live. We are here for our last segment. We got you about for another 9 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to jump on and get back to our other island events and things coming up this weekend. If you want to follow along with some of the stuff that we've been talking about or a lot more of this, you can just go to islandmoon.com where issue 1160 is up, I believe.
Yeah, well, one of the things, if you're looking for something to do, Tyler, you can go over and get you a garden spot over there at Dowden Park. They got a few available. Get you a weed eater.
Do
do people go over there and steal other people's produce?
It's not other people, it's
Critters.
critters.
Oh, I thought it was like a finger.
The critters go after the veggies, and the coyotes go after the critters. I
Yeah,
think.
the raccoons.
But
that used to be
there are garden plots available if anybody's interested. We also mentioned earlier in the show, Ball Pier is going to be closed for part or possibly all of tomorrow. I was surprised. I went over there the 4th of July to take some pictures, and the concession stand's coming right up.
It is coming right up, and there was not a lot of people fishing at certain times there because
Yeah.
the water conditions. It was
Is that
rough,
what it was?
was rough. And
It
just
looked
muddy.
like gumbo.
Right. It's not really good for fishing.
Jay said it's the upwelling. He
Yeah.
ever put in his column this week that it's
It is-
water coming up from the bottom of the
It
Gulf.
always happens that way. Just about the times like, oh my God, the trout fishing is just going off, and,
Yeah.
then it stops.
Well,
And-
I know I looked at the beach the other day, and the first, close in 200 yards is all chocolate milk, and then it looks nice after
Oh, yeah,
that.
it's wonderful.
But, yeah.
But the other thing going on this weekend, whether you like it or not, it's Deep Sea Roundup. It's the 90th
Yeah.
annual one. That's going on the 9th through the 12th, and they have all kinds of divisions
Well,
out
they
there.
don't bring in the big fish anymore. There's a no-kill tournament. They bring in table fish, but Captain D. Wallace, who I keep trying to get to come on, but maybe now that we're later in the day, he'll do it. But he went through the tournaments up there in Port Aransas 10 or 12 years ago and brought in the no-kill rules. And so you take a video and you put it on your computer.
Or a lot of the larger boats will have weighmasters on there to
So,
confirm
it's-
so
everything.
the big fish go
It's
back
good
in.
because it's like they're so valuable. Why kill them? You like catch them
Catch them again next time. Well,
Yeah.
of course, you get into the issue of whether was it a dorsal fin? Is the difference between a blue marlin
And a white, yeah, white have the big eyes, yeah, the
and,
rounded.
And I was sitting behind Captain D one time, and a guy came in, and he kept saying, "Look, you can see the dorsal fin right there." And after a while, D turned around to him and said, "Son, it's not that kind of a contest." In other words, if you don't see the fin, you're not getting the points.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
also this week, the beach access. We got a new beach access road. That's something we've never said on
Yes,
this show.
yes. Apparently, it's been in the books for a long time, and is
it open?
It's right by Port Royal. So,
I know.
like you were saying, Dale, this is in Corpus city limits.
Yeah. It was $4 million, I believe, on the 2022 bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And to get it done in 4 years is pretty good. I can give kudos to the city engineer and any department.
And
It's-
they built them the way that they wanted to build them now, where it has a high lift up at front, so it won't get when we have these like
Seems
coastal
like
flooding events,
they
it
would
won't.
have thought of that a long time ago.
One would have thought that, but there's like, oh, I don't want to obstruct my view as I come up to this beach.
Well, Oggs went up and shot aerials of it yesterday, and it's coming along, man. I saw a picture from the day before, and it was just a line in the sand. And by yesterday, it looks like they've got the roadbed down. The good thing about it is that right now, when you come out of Port Aransas and you're coming south on from the last access road, you go into Fish Pass after about 7 miles. You got to turn around and go back out. So that's the least used part of our local beaches. So
Well,
this road is.
We knew that forever.
Well, and 4th of July weekend, we had some family that were staying in Port Aransas and decided, it'll be worth it to brave the crowds and go out and see them. And it was door to door.
I've never
from
seen our
Port
beaches more
Aransas
crowded.
Exactly. It was nuts.
It was one lane southbound from Packery Channel all the way into Clayburgh County.
There was also a lot of horrible driving people in little two-wheel cars, and even the all-wheel drive cars like the Hondas.
Yeah.
They were getting stuck because they don't have ground clearance.
Well, I
we
talked to a guy night before last that pulls people out, and he says he's just been sitting down by Bob Hall Pier. He said he's pulled 80 cars out of there in the last month.
Oh yeah, because you make that corner, you're like, nope,
Yeah.
you're not
Well,
going to make it.
and speaking of cars, the totals for the over-the-bridge traffic count, Sunday was 44,349.
This is week before last.
Yeah, week before last. Saturday total was 51,300 roundabout, and then another 48,000 on a Friday.
Yeah, and that's
So-
up a little bit. And what's interesting to look at is the number of cars coming over and the number of cars coming back.
Yes.
That tells you how many people are staying on the island, which I like that number. I'd never seen it broken out that way before because it tells you how many people are spending the night out here.
Yeah.
Unless they took a boat home
Yeah.
or went across the ferry.
Which could happen.
Also this weekend, before I forget, we have a good friend, Paul Fain in Port Aransas. He passed away a few weeks ago. They're having a send-off for him this Sunday at 4 o'clock at the Episcopal Church in Port Aransas. And Stevie Start and several of the other musicians are coming in. Paul was a groundbreaking guy. He had the Tarpon Ice House, and he was brought in. He helped out a lot of musicians over the years. He had live music 7 nights a week, and he was just a really good guy. And they're having a send-off for him 4 o'clock. They have a little amphitheater out in the back of the Episcopal Church.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out Sunday afternoon, swing by. Maybe the traffic will be let up a little bit
And
by
speaking of people departing, we have to say a special thank you for all the years of hard work from our buddy Ted Mendel.
Ted, we are going to miss you. I can't
know.
believe
then. He's
you'd
going
leave.
up the hill.
Yeah.
He's moving
Going
to Denver.
He likes it.
He lived in Denver before and wanted to get out, and now he's going right back.
Yep.
Old Ted's a slow learner, I guess.
Grandkids will do that to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Ted, we got a spot for you anytime you want to come back down.
Yeah, we miss Ted. He was-
And we have a bridge named after you. Wait, that'll be a few years
Well,
from
and now we're going to have to open up applications for Island Moon Live intern for helping me set up and tear everything down, and I'll teach
We
him
don't have
production
one.
things. Yeah,
Well, Ted he's been here
He has.
a couple of years, and
He lived here 10 years, I think.
He's 82 years old, and just the last year or so had grandkids. So it was either New Jersey or Colorado. So it wasn't that long of a conversation, I
Yeah.
don't think. So we also have the farmers market today. It starts at 5 o'clock. They moved it a little later, probably because of the heat, over at Whitecap.
And they have fresh eggs and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm by next week I'm going to try to have a diagram of what they're doing over there. That activity area they're doing is really something, and it's coming along. They're putting in a driveway with palm trees on it and some pickleball courts, and there's some other stuff coming. It's
There's a
really
lot of-
there's a lot of stuff that we need on the island.
there are things that are changing, and as things change, you always want it to look better. And if you need to look better, you need to go talk to Ted at Impact Marketing. They're right there off of 423 Schatzel Street downtown. You can just reach out to them at 887-9300 or go to impactmarketingcc.com. You can see all the stuff they do. They've got tech gear, promo stuff, safety equipment, hats, shirts, screen printing, embroidery, you name it, they do it. If you need any kind of promotional product, you need to go downtown and talk to Ted at Impact Marketing and let him know that you heard about it from Island Moon Live. And let them know that you wanted to get all that stuff that you need from Corpus Christi's premier promotional products purveyor. And that is about the time we have today, gentlemen. It's been a great show.
It's been fun.
As we will be here as we are every Thursday on Isla Moon Live, starting at about 11 o'clock, as well as 1440 KEYS Corpus Christi, 1440 AM, 98.7 FM. Keep it on Island Time.
Kim was telling me she
All right.
got named, I think it was, she said, the receiver of somebody passed away, and she was on the paperwork as a receiver. Just, apparently, somebody didn't like having
Yeah, that was interesting.
Nothing good ever happens on TV.
All right.
We'll meet on Soapback Beach to hang out with the bums. No need to wait until the weekend comes around. Island time, bring your salt and lime and say, thank God it's Padre. Thank God it's Padre. Sitting on Bob Hope Pier, drinking an ice cold beer, and wondering how I landed here. Someone pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Bye, YouTube. See y'all later.